air routes of different places are connected. So you can see there were some informations provided when we are having this route, our routes from one place to another place. For example, the information provided to us is from Delhi to Mumbai. So these many number of kilometers and hours of travel followed with amount. Scroll down. So in order to capture each record, you can collect as an array, you can split. Come down, I'll show you. In this multi-part programming challenge, you are required to do the following. As I said, there were 4 tasks. I want all of you to complete the first task in another 1.5 hours. Scroll up. I want to read the first task. Wait. Write a program to read the flight route information as an input from CSV file named route.csv. We have a file and the file name is routes.csv. From that file, you want to read. So how you will read the content from file? By using
File reader.
File reader, buffer reader. You can read every line by line. So go for reader. Any reader, because your streams you have to capture and you need to convert as streams. So go for reader. Yeah, go for buffer reader, file reader. Store the route information of each route in an array called as route array. Point number 1, we want to read the file content from the file route.csv, read each and every line and store every line in the form of route array, which is user defined class routes class. So you will be, you should know how many records are available. So based on records, you need to create an memory initialization for array, and that array is a user defined array route class. There should be variable 4 or 5 variable from, to, distance, time travel and airfare. So except distance, everything you have to declare as a string type. So that's all. Read the data, store it in an array, user defined array. For user defined array, you should have a class with variable constructor, getter, setter if it is a private variable, and you should know how many number of records are available, followed with you should store everything. You have to read line by line and you have to convert that to an object type and you need to store it in an array. That's all. The last thing is you need to display. This is similar to our Mastery Challenge 1, that foreign exchange. You need to display in this format. So from, to, distance, travel and typical airfare. Can you open the project in Workbench? I will be discussing task 2 at 11 o'clock. Yeah, open in Workbench. Oh, there is no boilerplate code. Guys, please confirm. Okay. All right. Yeah, only file is there. So you need to create a Java file. So let's assume main.java, which will be having main method. Is there any instruction in your program? One minute, give me 1 minute time. I will confirm. So then everything under you. So as per requirement, there should be a main Java class and there should be a main method and there should be route planner operations.java file where we will be having functions. According to me, there should be 4 functions. The first function is display flight details. So you need to complete this method, display flight details. And apart from that, there should be route class with variables, constructor, get set methods. So yeah, so according to me, there should be 3 classes. Create 3 Java class, 1 reserved for main method. From main method, you will be creating object for operation and you should call first method, display flight detail. And in this method, you need to find out total number of records, 24 records. So 24 records, for every 24 record, you need to create 24 object. It's not possible one by one, so you can create root class object. So pass all the data to every object and at last display through object. So you will be reading the first line, you will be separating with comma, and for your information, there is a space. Even if you want, you can use trim function and ignore the space. After Delhi, check you have space here. After reading each and every string and by splitting the string based on comma, ensure that there should not be any space. Trim it and store it in an object with corresponding to variable. Make a note of it. I'll show you a demo program for wave 26. I have already shared wave 27. Quickly, I'll share a demo program which I have discussed a week before. I'll share you the sample. You can use that as a reference and complete it. Thanks, Sagar. I'm stopping your screen share.
Thank you.
So what demo I discussed for is this student details? Is my screen is visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Guys?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So please come along with me. This is a reference demo which I have discussed some days back. Listen. So always in order to refer a file, you can refer as a string variable or you can refer as a file object. File object name equal to new file of your data. And for your information, this is my data. So I've created roll number, name and mark, and this is also a comma separated file. So initially we want to know how many records are available. So for that you can use buffered reader. And here I want to exclude my heading. So I have used read line separately. Excluding the first line, from second line onwards, I want to read until I reaches to null. And every time I want to count. So after these 4 lines, I'll come to know how many records are available in my file. So after that, it's very, very important, line number 15. So in my case, it is student detail. For your case, it is root detail. So root detail, there should be a class here according to me. It's student details, array, object name equal to new student detail of, I have to allocate these many number of memory for my object. Again, start reading the file content. This time you will read the first line and you will store it in a temporary variable. So my first line, which is 101 Joel 89 will be read. And this line I want to separate based on comma. If I separate, I will get 3 different data. So one single string I'm splitting based on comma and it will return an array. So depend upon your requirement, parse it and don't forget to pass all the 3 value to constructor of student details for with respective to object of I. So first time object of 0, second time 1, 2, 3, it will go until it reaches to null. So at last, and I will show you student details. Student details, I have as many number of variables based on the data I want to capture it. Constructor initialization, just to consolidate all the record, we have toString. So as soon as I set this variable constructor and toString, I'm sure everybody are familiar with this block, isn't it? There were 8 records. Right, there were 8 records. And all the 8 records I'm printing as capturing as a student detail object. See here. Every data is stored in student details array object and I'm printing. Whenever I'm printing an object, it will print in the form of toString. Object will call toString.
Ma'am, toString method is not.
Yeah.
Can you please?
toString is just a consolidation. So in order to consolidate all the details available in a class, you can create a method public string toString, 2 small letter S capital letter, and it returns string. So whatever the message you want to have. So I want student details. So I want data. Whatever you want, you can have it, and you can have a variable and the message to be concatenated. So I can give data plus roll number plus the variable roll number mark. So according to my requirement, I can consolidate the message I want to display on my string. And how you will call? So I'll be storing all the records in object. So by using that object, if I try to print that object, toString will be called automatically. So I'll be sharing this data one.txt. I'll be sharing the student details.txt and I'll be sharing demo3. Analyze the same, relate the same with your problem statement and complete your first task. I'm giving you another, I'll give you another 2 hours time. So before 12, try to complete it.